out over what happened the last 50 days when Jill and I first got a chance to move into this magnificent building behind you. I promised the American people, and I guess it's becoming an overused phrase, that help was on the way. But today, with the American Rescue Plan now signed into law, we've delivered on that promise. And I don't mean I've delivered, we've delivered. Look out there on all of you. Patty, there'd still be people, kids in poverty, were it not for all the work you did all those years. And I want to say to Bernie, stepping up and making the case why this was so transformational made a big difference in how a lot of people voted. I look out at all of you, House members as well, who have made the case to the American people why this is so important. I watched my buddy Jim down in South Carolina stand up and talk about how it's going to affect individual people. My inclination is to mention every single one of you, because I think I've called most of you and thanked you already for what you did. I even called Pallone. He wasn't there though. He was on the other side of the river. We joke all the time. He's in New Jersey. I'm in Delaware. I keep reminding him Delaware owns the Delaware River up to the high water mark in New Jersey. But all kidding aside, I want to thank you all. I want to thank particularly the Speaker, who from day one, from the very first day I got the nomination, was supportive in ways that are hard for me to describe. And you know, I served a long time in the United States Senate, longer than anybody if I was still there at the time other than Pat. And if I were still in the Senate, I'd be Senator Pro Tem, because I was 2 years ahead of Pat. But all kidding aside, we've stood with a lot of great majority leaders. But I never saw anybody handle such a controversial, consequential piece of legislation that was right on the edge than Chuck Schumer. I owe you, Chuck. You did an incredible job. And look, and to the members of the House and Senate, thanks for making this happen. You made it happen. As I said, I served 36 years in the Senate. I know how hard it is to pass major consequential legislation, particularly when we only have such minor, small majorities in both houses, Steny. You've done an incredible job. And Nancy and Chuck, I have to say that I agree with many of the columnists that have commented on this legislation. What you shepherded through the Congress not only meets the moment, it does even more. It's historical, and they call it transformational. And it really is. The bill was supported overwhelmingly by the American people, Democrats, independents, and Republicans, and had a strong support of governors and mayors across the country in both parties, red states and blues. Over 430 mayors contacted me, many of them Republicans, supporting the bill. And here's why. Because what you all did with it and the refinements you made, it directly addressed the emergency in this country. Because it focuses on what people need most. Debbie and I often talked about, you got to tell people in plain, simple, straightforward language what it is you're doing to help. You've got to be able to tell a story. Tell the story of what you're about to do and why it matters. Because it's going to make a difference in the lives of millions of people in very concrete, specific ways. This legislation, as everybody's already mentioned, will provide $1,400 in direct payments, which we all promised. Well, that means for a typical family of four, a middle-class family, husband and wife working, making $110,000 a year, that means $5,600 check they're going to get. 85% of the households in America will be getting this money. And a lot of you know, because of the way you came up like I did and others, what that can mean. Think of the millions of people going to sleep at night staring at the ceiling thinking, my God, what am I going to do tomorrow? I've lost my health care, don't have a job. Unemployment runs out. I'm behind on my mortgage. What are we going to do? Well, guess what? They're going to be getting that check soon, either by direct deposit or a check from the Treasury. And some are going to get it as early as this weekend. This legislation provides resources needed to open our schools. How many of you have dealt not only in your own home and with your children and grandchildren, if you have them, with how difficult it is, the mental pressure and stress that are on so many families, so many people needing help if they had access to counseling, because it's caused enormous stress. This legislation extends unemployment insurance by $300 a week until September. It's going to help 11 million Americans who were days from losing that benefit. This legislation includes the biggest investment in child care since World War II. That's not hyperbole, that's just a fact. It's a fact. It provides help for small businesses to stay open. And 400,000, so many have had to close because the first time around you all worked and did a great piece of work in the House passing significant legislation.
Hello everybody, happy Friday. Now stimulus payments have been sent out. By the way folks, have you received your third stimulus check? Tell me down in the comments. Joe Biden signed the $1.9 trillion relief bill into law yesterday, and that means you could receive a stimulus check in the coming days. Payments should go to about 159 million households, and White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says that people can expect to start seeing direct deposits hit their bank accounts as early as this weekend. Payments to eligible Americans will continue throughout the course of the next several weeks. The checks will be a maximum of $1,400 per individual or $2,800 per married couple, plus an additional $1,400 per dependent. Like past direct payments, the third round will be based on income. Now folks, tell me in the comments down below, have you qualified for the third stimulus check? And did you get the first and second payments? Well, the income limits for those to receive the maximum amount will remain the same. Individuals earn up to $75,000 in AGI, heads of households with up to $112,500, and married couples who finally jointly with up to $150,000 will get the full $1,400 per person. This time, however, the payment phased out at a faster clip. Payments will be capped maximum at $80,000 per individual, $120,000 for heads of households, and $160,000 for married couples. People at those adjusted gross income levels and above will receive nothing. Now folks, you have to understand that the $1,400 payments will also go to eligible dependents. This time that includes those that are ages 17 and up. The money will be sent to those households who claim the dependents. As with past checks, individuals will need a social security number in order to qualify. Now if you receive no $1,400 payment or a reduced check, but your income changes, you may be able to claim the money that you are due when you file your taxes next year. You might see a stimulus check in your bank account as soon as this weekend. Once again, the stimulus checks will be $1,400 for single taxpayers, and that will be the full amount for individuals earning up to $75,000 a year.